Hello everybody and welcome to episode 16 of the Wild Eye Diaries, hosted by myself. I'm very excited to be hosting another week, and it's amazing to see how quickly these weeks are flying by, and on top of that to think that we are already in June. The year is moving very, very quickly, and in terms of this episode, it's quite an exciting episode. The guys have been fairly spread out. We'll get into the rest of the team, but from my side, this week I've been in the office. Last week I had a live stream session with Sally Anthony. This week I did a private photography course with 3 individuals. A really enjoyable day, great group of people. And what I really enjoyed about the day is it is a lot of information to take in. We go through a lot. We do quite a bit of theory work in the office and practical work around the office area. And it's very rewarding to see each individual grow in confidence over such a short period of time. The session was about 4 hours long, and the guests were all very, very happy with what they've learned and were ready to put their new skills to the test. Unfortunately for them, they went on safari the very next day. They're actually on safari as we speak. So yeah, glad I could help them out. And like I said, very, very rewarding. Next week, Alistair and I are heading up to Kenya, to the Masai Mara. Both of us extremely excited. We've never been up to the Masai Mara before. Excited to experience the new camp and also just get an understanding of what our guests are going to experience over the next coming weeks and coming months. In terms of Alistair this week, he is on leave actually. He is away with the family. They're celebrating his dad's 60th birthday in Croatia. So very, very jealous of him. Just looking at his Instagram stories, looks like they've been having a pretty incredible time. Moving on to Mike. Mike's also been in the office this week. He hosted a DP digital photography course last weekend, and he's also been learning his way around the Olympus mirrorless camera, and this is what he had to say.
Hello everyone, I hope that you are doing well and that your week has been a good one. Mine has been an incredible week and quite filled with adventure. Last week Saturday I hosted a digital photography course here in the Wild Eye office, and yeah, it was a ball of fun. It always is a day filled of fun because it's not only theoretically based, it is also got to do, or we also do quite a lot of practical exercises, 13 to be exact. And I know in previous episodes Trevor touched down and kind of dwelled deeper into exactly what we do during these courses and the things that we cover. But again, on this week's course, I got a question from someone who attended, one of our guests who attended, asking, Mike, how or when did everything that I just taught them stick and stay in my brain, and how do I remember it? And for a long time I couldn't really answer this question because I used to get it back in my guiding days when I was still at Sabi, and also when I just started with Wild Eye. I often got the question, when does it stick, and when did you realize that you got it? And yeah, for a long time I never really knew how it stuck. And yeah, recently I read something that actually triggered something in my mind, and I knew exactly then when it actually started sticking and when everything started making sense. And it'll pop up next, and it's something that I end my digital photography course with, so that it hopefully encourages the guests that join us here to do so. And here it is. 10% of what, or we learn 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, 50% of what we see and hear, 70% of what we discuss, 80% of what we experience. But this is the important one. We learn 95% of what we teach others. And I use this, and when I saw this, this is when it clicked, and this is when I realized that is when I started remembering everything, is actually when I started teaching others the techniques, the skills, the settings, and whatever it may be that I knew and that I understood. And it happened way back when I met the Wild Eye team, when I still was guiding at Sabi. I had the privilege of guiding the team and their guests a couple of years ago, and only after that I have enough courage to actually start teaching my guests on safari as to how to use a digital camera. And I think only then did it really start sticking, and only then did I really start remembering all the ins and outs in and around a DSLR camera. So hopefully I can encourage you and everyone that joins me, either on a course, on a safari, whatever it may be, to try and teach others the things that they learn and the new things that they see and experience. And because it is vital, I can promise you, when you teach others, it is really going to stick. And speaking of teaching others, this week another task that I have to tackle is getting to grips with this guy. So this is a Olympus OMD Mark II. It's a mirrorless camera, and something that I am extremely unfamiliar with. I have hosted guests that use this particular camera on a couple of occasions, so I know the odds or odd in and out of this particular camera. But when it comes to the menu system in here, yeah, it is totally different to the Canon ranges, the Nikon ranges, and so I have to now get used to this guy in the weeks to come, because I am going to be hosting a private digital photography course with a guest joining us in the Masai Mara, and this is actually his camera. Setting it up for him, getting to grips with it in order to teach him. And I think I've spent a few days fiddling around and getting to know it, and yeah, the basics are there, but there's always one or two things that I'm forgetting because there's so many switches and dials and buttons. I think only after the day I actually teach him how to use his camera will I truly understand and feel comfortable when it comes to using an Olympus mirrorless camera. And yes, I hope that this segment of mine this week encourages you to teach others the skills that you know, the knowledge that you know, because I can promise you then it will stick and you will remember it. Anyway, that's it for me this week. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the episode, and yes, I look forward to catching up next week. Just for now.
Thanks, Mike. It looks like you have had a productive week. Glad the digital photography course went really well, and that you are or have familiarized yourself a little bit more with Olympus and the mirrorless camera. Moving forward, we catch up with Johan, who gives us an update from Tswalo. Judging by his updates, he's had a pretty remarkable safari already. I don't want to spoil too much or spill the beans. So having said that, let's head over to Johan and get an idea of how his safari is going.
Hello everybody. Alright, so as you can see behind me, I'm back in the bush, and a place that I love dearly, especially in the winter months. I'm in the Kalahari again, as you can see by the red soils around me, something that's that the Kalahari is known for. I'll be here for 5 nights. We're currently on night 3, and the Kalahari in winter is a really special place. I was here last month, and this month one of the things that have stood out or have become very obvious is it's been much colder, especially in the morning safaris and then in the evenings. It's been very cold, but from a game viewing point of view, it's been phenomenal. We've had some amazing sightings of wild dogs with puppies. The puppies, we reckon, must be around about 5 weeks old, and we're not sure exactly how many are there yet. We reckon maybe about 12 or 13, but that is something really special, and something that you don't get to see often on safari. So they currently have a den site that is pretty accessible, which is a great thing for us, and the photographic opportunities there have been super. My guests have got some amazing images so far, and we hope to maybe one of the days head back to the den site again to get some more videos and images. Other sightings that have really stood out, this morning we had the opportunity. We were planning on going to the meerkat, and then as it goes always on safari, your plans change. We picked up on tracks of 2 male cheetahs, and the track that I'm currently with has been here for many years and did a super job. Found us the 2 male cheetahs, and we got to spend a good 2.5 hours with these guys. The only vehicle, We were able to be on the ground, which from a photographic point of view, those eye-level images really do make a big difference. And it was so amazing to see the reaction from my guests who have never been able to do that before, just soak up the experience. And as I mentioned, to be able to sit with 2 male cheetahs photographing at eye level for a good 2 hours was really something special and something we thoroughly enjoyed. As I mentioned, it is a little bit colder this month. We've had some pangolin tracks. We haven't found any yet. Apparently there's a rumor of a pangolin and a youngster around, so hopefully in the next few days, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get them. But we have had some sightings. We've had 2 aardwolf, which you don't get to see all that often. We've had things like porcupine, Cape fox, bat-eared fox. So really nocturnal species that you really come to the Kalahari for, and it's a totally different safari experience. So for the next couple of nights, as I mentioned, we'll be planning to head to the dogs again. It's something special, and it's almost a guaranteed sighting, knowing where their den is, and we're going to take full advantage of that. And then maybe tomorrow afternoon we'll be looking for the desert black rhino that are also very unique in this particular area. And we'll also try and focus on some meerkats one of the mornings, and then always looking for some of those nocturnal species, aardvark and pangolin, things like that. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal safari so far. I always love coming back to the Kalahari in the winter. It's a special place, and definitely a place that should be on your bucket list if you combine it with another safari. It's especially in winter, truly special and very unique and so different. As I mentioned in the last month when I was here, exclusivity is a big thing at Tswalo. So whether you're booking by yourself or with a partner or as a family, you get your own vehicle, you get your own guide, and also one of the experienced trackers. Now, the trackers play a massive part in the whole experience at Tswalo. These guys, a lot of them grew up here, they know the place like the back of their hand, and they just blow you away with their knowledge of the tracks and following whatever species it might be that you're looking for. So guys, that's it for me for now for this episode. I'm about to head out on safari again, but I will share more of this with you guys in the next episode of the Wild Eye Diaries, and I'll also be doing another trip report on the safari and how it all went. But if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. If you want to maybe use this as a private safari in the future, it's just something different, something unique, and great photographic opportunities. Guys, I hope you enjoy this episode of the Wild Eye Diaries. I'll catch up with you guys again next week. A lot of safaris coming up, so stay tuned. Great content coming your way, and I will chat to you guys in the next episode. Until then, cheers, have a good one.
Well, so Johan is having a pretty incredible time up at Tswalo. Really nice to get a little bit of insight regarding what safari you can expect out of Tswalo. I know that it's on my bucket list. I would love to go and visit Tswalo, and just to see the sightings that he's having is absolutely unbelievable. Wild dog pups is something truly special. I've seen it once before while I was guiding as a full-time guide at Londolozi, but yeah, pretty special stuff. And yeah, thank you very much for that, Johan. Moving on, we're gonna catch up with Marlon, who is in the office for a couple of days. He's just returned from a safari from South Luangwa, and this is how his trip went. Take a look at this clip.
Hi everyone. I'm enjoying a good walk with my dogs this afternoon. There they are, Spot and Leia. Have a week in the office. It's been great to be back, catching up on quite a few things, planning a few new safaris. Going to be sharing with you in the next few clips a few highlights from Zambia. Last week I shared a few iPhone videos with you, but now I'll share a few of the videos captured with the DSLR and a few of the wildlife highlights. So do enjoy, but look forward to staying in touch. Let us know what questions you have. Come and join us in safari. It's getting into the busy season, so you'll see a lot more of these kind of updates, I'm sure, as the time goes on. But for now, enjoy. From me and Spartan and Leah, enjoy it.
Great, thanks for that, Marlon. Looks like it was a very successful safari, and now seeing that clip, I understand why it is one of your favorite destinations to visit on safari. The experience must be absolutely incredible, and I look forward to hopefully one day also visiting and experiencing South Luangwa for myself. Next up is Andrew, who has just returned from his safari to Botswana. He's put together a little bit of a highlights package about his safari that he's just had. He's been in the office for a couple of days and then heading off to the Timbabati for his next safari.
It's the final day of our Botswana wilderness safari here in the Okavango Delta. As you can see behind me, this is the Okavango Delta. The flood waters have arrived a couple of weeks ago. The guys are still expecting a second push to arrive through, and we're currently in the little Vumbura camp, in the Vumbura concession, and so there's still going to be a lot more water coming through here. The first couple of days we spent at Chitabi camp, which is right down in the southeastern corner of the Okavango Delta, and they haven't received much water. Compared to this time last year, there was almost no water in that part of the delta. We had some incredible sightings there. And then we moved on to the northwestern section to Pilo camp, which is a water-based camp, and the flood waters there were far higher than they were this time last year. So it just goes to show how diverse this ecosystem is and how it can change from one year to the next. The theory is that based on both the volume and timing of the water, as well as an earthquake which took place last year, that things have shifted slightly, and that's why there hasn't been as much water reaching the southern reaches as yet. We had a fantastic time at Palo, saw good Pel's fishing owl, Sitatunga, and just enjoyed being on the water. And that was for 2 nights before we came through here to Little Vumbura. So this week I thought I would share some of the highlights of the sightings that we've had over the last 9 nights here in Botswana.
So just looking at that clip, it looks like Andrew and his guests had a phenomenal safari, experiencing pretty much the best of Botswana, doing safari in a variety of different ways, from boats to vehicles to helicopter rides, and just looking at that highlights package, it looks like it was a truly memorable experience. Moving on, last but definitely not least, we catch up with Gerry, who sent through a short clip about his current safari. He's up in Uganda, where they've doing some gorilla trekking, and they've also been on safari in the national park there. Here's what he had to say.
Hey everybody, so that's a look around Bohoma Lodge. Hello. Say hello.
Hello.
There you go. I'm currently at Bohoma Lodge in Uganda in Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, and I look very red. It's not just the light. I actually did a hell of a hike this morning. Probably don't look my best, hey. Anyway, yeah, it's Trevor's turn to host the diaries, and I said I'd try and get him something signal sketchy, so I hope you guys see this. I also hope you see this. Look at this background. Primary forest. It's ridiculously beautiful. I've just finished 2 days of back-to-back gorilla tracking. Before then, I was in Queen Elizabeth Park for 2 back-to-back days. Beautiful tree climbing lions. Before then, I was in Kibali National Park. Oh God, almost fell down. Oh God, almost fell down. Not going to edit that out. Almost fell down the stairs. Tracking chimps. It's been an amazing trip. I've got one more track tomorrow with this current group of guests, and they then fly out on Saturday morning. My new guests fly in, and I do another 3 tracks. So I've got 4 more tracks to do in the next week or so. Then I'm off to the Mara, but I'm going to try and get you some new content for them. So anyway, I'm going to show you another view. It's beautiful. Actually, let me show you around the room quickly while I have you guys. Bohoma, like I said, National Park. We're staying at Bohoma Lodge. So I'm tired. So my room, very neat, and in the forest. So it is very, very, very cool. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with a short clip. I posted this to my Instagram, but for those of you who can see it here as well, amazing sightings this morning. I think that's all I have for you. Anyway, enjoy this little clip. And here we go, check this out. Hold still. Gerry. So that's just one of the magical moments on this trip so far. I will do a whole bunch more. I'm not sure when, because after this I'm heading to the Mara, home for a weekend in Marlon. So, but I'll try to get back to you guys soon. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the episode. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye. Chat to you soon. Bye.
And that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Wild Eye Diaries, episode 16. As you can see, very productive week, great week in the office and out the office. Lots of good content coming through, and I hope it just gives you a better idea of what each of the safaris have to offer and the kind of experience you can expect if you join us on these safaris. As mentioned earlier in the diaries, Al and I are off to Kenya next week. We're going to be trying to gather as much content as possible from our first experience of the Mara, which we're both excited for, and we will definitely be sharing that with you once we are back. But for now, I'm going to sign off, say cheers, and hope that you all have a wonderful week further.